Hi, I'm Bradley Barth with SC Media here at the Identiverse Conference in Las Vegas. My guest today is Reggie Owens. He is Director of Enterprise Identity and Access Management at American Family Group, also known as AmFam. Reggie, you're here today to talk about an ambitious project that you've been working on at AmFam, a project to consolidate what was really a diverse array of disparate applications and identity tools into one unified system that would grant you a singular view of the user. So I think a good place to begin is just paint us a picture a little bit about how complex your organization was. I know it's a consortium made up of a number of different entities. I think in your session abstract, you said something along the lines of, every tool from every vendor multiple times over was the situation you found yourself in. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but paint us a picture of how complex the situation actually was.
Sure, and thanks for having me. Um, to paint a picture of that reality is actually kind of pretty simple because it's spot on. As a organization, American Family has been purchasing other insurance as a method of growth for many, many years. So over the course of, I don't know, maybe 20 years or so, we've acquired many different organizations, and they were all operating independently. And then around 2020 or so, there was a decision that was made that maybe we should operate more together than separate. And then 2021, that became a reality. The problem with making a reality like that, though, is that if every company has been doing their own thing and doing it their own way for so long, now you're saying we're going to do this as one operating company, as one large enterprise group. Well, that becomes a bit of a challenge. So the having of multiple tools and having the same tools many times over is actually a reality. Um, to be fair, we kind of went through our entire environment. And just in IAM alone, we have 40 different applications, and many of them are the same applications multiple times over. So that was our reality. And the only problem with this, though, was that the business wants to be more. They want to be faster at being able to deliver services, but also too, they want to make competitive in the organization. Insurance is very cutthroat. There's a lot of large organizations, and American Family being one of them. And so the only way to really do that is to start to operate at speed and at scale. And that was our challenge. Our challenge was to take what is a bunch of disparate companies, have them operate as one, share tools, but also keeping in mind that before 2021, they were not sharing tools, they were not operating together. So that's what we set off to build. And it was an incredible challenge to kind of put together the plan, the program, and even the technology stack that we needed to use in order to be able to make that a reality.
When you do have multiple views of the same user because you have a redundancy of tools, what's the main risk there or drawback? How does it hurt productivity, for example?
Well, it actually creates no productivity. So if you want to think about this, if you are a person that works in claims, well, our claims unit operates across every single company that we own. So if you imagine a day in the life of a claims person, you sit down at your desk, you pull out 14 laptops, and then you log into all 14 of them with different usernames and different passwords to do one job. That's the reality of the organization. And the reason for that is because you have 14 different networks, 14 of them don't talk. Everybody has their own brand, their own flavor of computer, their own login credentials, their own style of how they do things, their own systems. So that was the productivity methodology that you have. But if you talk about it from a risk perspective, this creates an immensely large amount of risk for an organization because you're only going to use one account at one time. So what happens to the other 13 or the other 12, depending on your role? Well, they're sitting around dormant, still active, still have access to the organization, can still get personal data, but you yourself can't monitor it. So our security operations center is, inundated with requests and trying to keep track of, is this the person doing this at this time? Are they using this system at that moment? And it's an incredible challenge. So risk becomes enormous when you're dealing with the same identity multiple times over.
So ultimately, you decided on an identity warehouse approach when you were strategizing how to re-architect. So basically, having one central repository of all of the identities as a single source of truth. Why was that ultimately the solution that you went with?
Well, the biggest thing that we wanted to do was to create the concept of single identity, which is one account that can be used to do your job. And to create one account, though, means that you have to centralize your accounts into one system. You are what one individual, you are one human being, and therefore you really only need one account. Now, you can solve this a couple of different ways. You don't have to do the identity warehouse approach, but the more places you store identity, the more things you have to protect. So it was easier for us to consolidate everything into a single identity warehouse, put everything into one location, and then reconnect all of our applications to go to that one place. This way, it does not matter whether or not you work for company A or company B, your information is in one place, your access is one place, your account's in one place, and everything's talking back to one place. And therefore, it becomes easier to control, easier to manage. Basically, one throat to choke, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah. So, how long has the process taken so far? I don't know if you've reached full maturity on the project, if this is still something that you're working on. Give me a little bit of a timeline or a flow in terms of how you were able to uh, re-architect everything.
Sure. So we embarked on this journey in 2021 when the company basically said we're going to operate as an enterprise. Now, you can throw 2021 away because nothing gets done in 2021. Let's start off in 2022, where after we've kind of come above water and the shock of what did you just say kind of gets over with, then we now looking at okay, now let's build our strategy and our program. So we spent the better half of the first part of 2022 building out the program, deciding what technologies we needed to use, and then getting the funding to do all of that. And then we finished off 2022 really kicking off that journey and going forward. So we are really about a year into what is a 5 year journey and roadmap to do different things. So in just a few short weeks, we will have a situation where we're kind of at a major milestone where all of our applications will be talking to that one identity warehouse, which has taken us a long time to get to that, but that opens the door for the identity consolidation part because once all the applications are talking to one place, now we can do the fun part, which is getting rid of all of the duplicates that we have, consolidating all of that stuff down. And so that's going to take us through the better part of the year. And then some of the more fun and interesting things begin towards next year and throughout the 2024 year. But we are about a year into this journey. We've had some major milestones and deployments. We had a bunch of technologies that we're using to kind of work through this, but we're on that process to making our lives better for a lot of our team members and cohorts.
Is this overhaul of the architecture that you're doing primarily to benefit the users among the various entities that make up your consortium, or will this also have benefits for your consumers in terms of any customer-facing applications?
It's both. So right now we are focusing on our workforce because that's where a lot of our pain points are. But this is going to very quickly turn into our customer sides as well. Because if you think about this, if you have multiple insurance companies that cater to different demographics and different capabilities, they can still all benefit from having some of the same technology. So, for example, if you're a homeowner and you've got homeowners insurance, well, you can benefit from the AI that can evaluate your home and look at risk. It doesn't matter which brand you are. So we shouldn't be building that technology a bunch of different times. We should be able to leverage that same technology. But when we go to do that, that means our customer platforms have to also evolve as well. So with this consolidation of the workforce will translate to a consolidation of our customer workforce as well. Now there will still be separations of branding and things will look different and work a different way because again our insurance companies serve different markets and different demographics, but the back end underlying technology doesn't have to be different. It could be the same capabilities providing that to our customers, which in turn means cheaper cost for them, better premiums, better insurance services, better experiences with our agents and our claims and all that different things. But also too, they can take advantage of the fact that we are making these improvements.
All right, Reggie. Well, good luck on your ongoing journey to gain that singular unified view of all of your users and customers. In the meantime, I'm Bradley Barth from SC Media, signing off from Identiverse.